Greetings and salutations, YouTube. My name is Etchy Charmed, and today we'll be doing a video on the Mage of Space. So, here we go. The Mage is one of the two understanding classes of Homestuck, the active counterpart to the Seer, and the inverse of the Air. Mages suffer from their aspect, however, through that suffering, they learn how to understand their aspect, and from that understanding, they then learn how to control it. So, mages should learn not to succumb to the bad stuff of their aspect, and learn how to be open to, how do I say this? New insights and perspectives, to not be closed-minded about something, whether it's their aspect or just anything in general. The space aspect is the inverse of time and has to do with space itself, mass, energy, velocity, size, change, and it is one of the cardinal halves that make up reality. It has been confirmed in Homestuck that the more a space player is in tune with their aspect, the more lonely and empty inside that they feel. Like, space itself. The same could possibly be said about void players, but we'll get into that some other point in the future. Space players are also responsible for the Genesis frog and finding it and, having it grow into the new universe with the assistance of their knight, if their session has one. Now for the Mage of Space, their inverse is the Air of Time, and they would suffer through space by possibly being very physically clumsy and possibly being claustrophobic. They could possibly even be, and as weird as this sounds, they could possibly have a tendency to be fully aware that they exist. Like, the sheer terror that they exist. Not like, oh yeah, I'm here, just sitting there or just walking around doing something, and it just hits them that they exist, and that terrifies them. Just for some reason, and I can vouch for this, I go through this sometimes, they just sit there and they acknowledge that they exist, and it causes them to have a small panic attack. So, yeah, that's one thing about, and they could possibly even be allergic to frogs, since, as you should know, if you're a space player, you're basically 100% guaranteed that you're going to have frogs on your planet. So, if you're not a fan of frogs, like I am, and if you're a space player, you're definitely going to have a bad time. Anyway, however, through that suffering, they would learn to be very aware of their surroundings, meaning they wouldn't be clumsy anymore. They'd be able to understand the vastness of space, how creation works, how things are created. They would eventually develop an immunity to frogs, and they could possibly even know where the Genesis frog, or in its first form, I guess, the Genesis tadpole would be. And they could possibly grow to learn and understand how paradox space works. However, this may or may not be a good thing, because you might understand how paradox space works, and you might understand how the general futility of things. You might understand how futile some of your actions might be. So, as they say, ignorance can be bliss at times. Now, as for their powers, a Mage of Space, As for their powers, through the Mage of Space's trial, error, and suffering, the Mage of Space would be able to teleport and manipulate gravity, whether it's lifting something into the air or crushing something to bits. They could possibly also learn to call upon the power of the stars themselves and destroy their enemies, like an actual mage or something. And that's all, and I believe that's all I have for the Mage of Space. Mages are an interesting class in general, so I had a bit of fun making this video. If you also enjoyed this video, please be sure to like and share this, and please subscribe if you want to see more videos like this. Also, since this is my 12th video on class spec analysis, I would like to honor it, I guess, by making a video talking about class specs in general and how they work and stuff. If that, stuff like that. So, I believe that's all I need to say. So with that, I bid you dudes, dudettes, and others adieu. Bye!